So first I have to give you one clarification,
Sure.
which is that I'm CEO of Lucky Core Industries, which was formerly ICI Pakistan,
Okay,
which
so-
has nothing to do with cement.
Oh my God, I'm
apart
so
from,
sorry.
Apart from the
My
fact that there are
apologies.
majority shareholders.
Nice, all right.
Okay, so my vice chairman will think I'm going for his job if I try and tell you about what the
My
cement industry
apologies
is
on
doing.
that,
Okay?
yes.
But that aside, I think on a broader level, Uma, I will address that question when I talk more kind of
But
holistically.
even if that, it is the same sector.
That's what I'm saying, more holistically.
You serve the same sector.
It is. I mean, we serve the same sector in some ways because there are some products that we actually manufacture that go into construction. There's a host of other products. We are involved in the agri sector, in the animal health sector, in the pharmaceutical sector, in textile because we manufacture polyester staple fiber, construction because we manufacture and supply glass with soda ash. Right? So we have a very broad spectrum of industries. So we kind of have a pulse on what's happening. But really to move to the core kind of topic and the question, which is Pakistan, despondency, optimism, yes or no, where are we going? I've been an eternal optimist, and I'll be very, very open and candid.
Please.
Okay, I've been an eternal optimist as far as Pakistan is concerned. From the time I went to university, I went for a 4-year degree. I finished in 3 because I couldn't wait to come home. I started work. I was seconded to the UK. I was there for 3 years. By the end of it, I was actually counting the days for me to come back. And you know why that was? Because we had a lot of hope. And that's something that when you talk to generations above us, they would all say that, when you were living overseas, when you were living in the UK, you didn't even have to apply for a passport. They would just send it. You didn't have to go and line up at the Home Office. They would send it to you in the mail. And people of the generation that came back in the 60s and the 50s, they didn't even consider taking a passport because they had such hope and commitment to this country. That, unfortunately,
has changed.
Now, is it all the negative download on social media? Well, perception is reality till you can prove otherwise. We have to understand that. We can talk about social media is not the curse of all this. It's the inaction. Today, if you're a young professional, and look, there will be opportunity. It's not that there are no opportunities. There are lots of opportunities. In adversity, there is always opportunity, right? If you're an entrepreneur, there will be opportunities. If you come from a legacy of a business family and you have family businesses, there will be opportunity. But, what are we talking about? We're talking a country of 230 million people.
Absolutely.
When you talked about elite capture in the stock market, and my former classmate was I like his fancy footwork of how he kind of, danced around that.
I'll let you come on that.
The reality is, let's ask how many retail investors there are. True retail investors. And you look at the number, and it's appalling, right? Because there is that concentration. And we have not, as a country, till we don't address the core. Education, for me, is a core issue, right? And you're at higher education, but start right at the bottom. I still remember, and this is when General Musharraf was in power and Zubaida Jalal was the Minister of Education. This was many years ago. And going to her with Bela Jamil, who runs a NGO, an education NGO, right, in Lahore. And the proposal and the suggestion that I had taken to her to encourage education at the primary level and secondary level, make it incumbent upon industries operating in a catchment area to set up and run schools of a standard that they will ensure are providing quality education, and let them adjust that against their tax liability.
True.
So incentivize, so get that, we talk about...
But there's a lot of corporate social responsibility, so to say. But I personally
This country runs on corporate... Look, it runs on... Because corporate social responsibility is philanthropy. This country is running on philanthropy. Whether, and we all know that. So on that front, I am not hugely optimistic because I don't see that will. I don't see that political will. I don't see the social will. We come, we talk about it, but what are we actually willing to do to put our words into action?
You've given me a clue for my next question, Jooma Sahab. Thank you so much. And Jooma Sahab, I will start with you, and my apologies for not understanding where you're coming from.
So I've got my colleague who's from corporate communication, so she has some brand building on her table, absolutely, because we just changed the name in December. From
No,
ICIS
so I stand
to
corrected,
Lakiko.
yes.
So, one of the things about being a leader is you got to recognize and know when you were wrong and admit you're wrong. I always thought that the model that would work in Pakistan was not necessarily democracy. Honestly, I believe that, because a controlled democracy like you had in China or places where when they moved, or alternatively what we've had in Pakistan. But I now firmly believe, till we don't actually let the democratic process, stay its course, and you don't keep certain institutions where they're meant to be and not interfere and intervene, this country has no future.
So that's a